now we're going to be working on practicing creative marks. As you can see my example, we're going to be using 4 different materials to create different marks. Pencil is what we're going to start with. Then we're going to move to a marker or either a Sharpie, one of the two. Then we're going to move to black watercolor, which I have off to the side, and then your black colored pencil. So I want us to try all the different materials and all, you know, kind of overlapping them. So as we move from our creative marks and move into our abstract art, you've tried different techniques and different mediums to make sure that what you want to do on your final artwork is what you want to do. So what I need you to do, I'm going to move my sketchbook off. I don't need that right away. There is a worksheet that has lots of examples of different mark making, and then there's a worksheet that has the examples with some squares. That's where we're going to start. So don't forget to write your name, class period, whatever number that is, / your number. Okay, you don't have to put your name on this. This is just for reference if you got a copy. If not, there may be copies that you have to return. So we're just going to look at the different versions. They have hatching. So this is more of a picture of drawing versus the lines there. And then we're going to move down each one. So the first one, we're going to practice hatching. Hatching is simple vertical or horizontal lines next to each other. So there's vertical, there's horizontal, and then there's diagonal. They are not overlapping. They are simply just those lines. So in that first box, you're going to practice hatching with your pencil. Then we're going to move to cross hatching. It is these lines and we're overlapping them. So you're going to take vertical, overlap them with horizontal, or diagonal, overlap them with the other diagonal. So they're going across each other. So practice those 2 types. And again, you could try it thinner lines, thicker lines, or wider, however you want to say it. But in your second box, you're going to practice cross hatching. Now I know here they moved to dots versus cross contour hatching, and we're going to just attempt it. So cross contour is just putting these cross hatching into more of a shape. Like if you were doing it over a sphere or a cylinder like they have it. It's a little bit more difficult, but it's following whatever shape you are putting in. So we're just going to attempt it. And then dots and stippling would be kind of the same thing, is using lots of little dots. Thicker. And then they have the geometric, organic. They have 2 different types that they've used, and kind of the same here would be scribbling and scumbling. So let's do some scribbling, or actually spirals too. They kind of have, I feel like organic, spiral, and scribble are all technically the same, just depending on how you move your pencil. But remember, try to practice not pushing hard versus pushing hard. Let's see what it looks like. Not pushing hard versus pushing hard. Not pushing hard versus pushing hard. And then again, these dots and dashes, goodness, thick and thin, those are just using your pencil differently versus thin. And then kind of the same thing. But again, practice that using a thick pencil. And I always turn my pencil to the side. It makes a thicker line easier versus putting my pencil more upright. Thin line. And then dots and dashes. And then again, spiral, scribble kind of did with this. Jagged is just using those more zigzags. And again, practice pushing light, go down to push harder, pushing harder, move down to pushing light. And then continuous, I think that looks cool, so we'll just try that. If you just make a wiggly line and then try your best to recreate the same wiggly line. I know we've practiced this kind of within our line art that we just finished. The continuous wiggle gets less wiggly. And then the last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, just create from using this, and just kind of play with your pencil. See what kind of lines comes naturally to you. So once we have all of our boxes checked, the first 10 we did together, the last 5 you are just playing with your pencil and seeing what kind of marks that your hand wants to make as we move into doing this in our sketchbook. Okay, so that is just practicing, looking at different creative marks that we can transfer into our sketchbook and then to our final piece. So we're going to take these 2. I'm going to move them off so I can still see them to the side. And that's when you're getting to get your sketchbook, open up to a clean page. And we're going to start with our pencil. Again, doing the same kind of thing we just did here, but there's no boxes. So I'm going to set the timer for about 2 minutes, and we're just going to work creating some of these creative marks with our pencil, just like we did here. Once the time is up for a pencil, we're going to put the pencil away. We're going to move to either a Crayola marker or we're using a black Sharpie marker, depending on what I have available in the classroom. So I think I have to... And then we're going to get another minute set, and we're going to do the same thing, but using a different medium to create these lines. Okay, once we've done enough of that with the marker, we're going to switch out to our watercolor. Now, this is where you have to be very aware what you're doing. It's going to be on a tray. Obviously, mine's not on a tray because I'm not in the classroom, but you will have a water cup that looks like this. You will have a paintbrush similar to this, and then you're going to have a cup of black watercolor. You have to be very careful and aware and make sure that you are not touching the black watercolor. You don't want to pick it up or touch, lift it off the thing, because if it spills, it's going to make a huge, huge mess. So always keep it wherever Miss Lawson has put it. Don't try to put the top on or take the top off. It should already be done. Again, yours is going to look different than mine. Again, I'm at home. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with my brush. Again, you do not want to pick up the watercolor. You do not want to pick up the water. Those are going to stay on your tray. You have to be careful. As you dip your brush in, when you pick it up, it's going to drip. So I always pick up my paintbrush, leave it over the paint, and then just kind of make sure that I wipe it off the side, because if I move it real quick, it's going to drip across and make a mess. So just like with your pencil, you can do it with water. So as I lighten up, I don't want to get more paint. I'll go back and get more water. And as I keep going, just getting water, you can see that the color is also lightening up. If I go straight from paint to paper, it's going to be darker. And I can do the same techniques. I can get really thin if I barely touch my brush to the paper. And I can get really thick if I push down. So I want you to try doing that with your paintbrush, is barely touching the tip, like the tippy toes of your brush are touching the paper, and then push down and see how thick you can get it. That is one thing I want you to try. The next thing I want you to try is you're going to get your brush with paint only, wipe off that extra, and then you're going to keep doing lines until you see no more paint. And as you can see, if you can see these parts of my paper, this is when it is a cue to get more paint and more water. This is a good line. This is okay. Here and here and here, it's like, I don't have any more paint. You need to go back and get a refill. So I'm even going to go over some of my pencil lines, and you can do dots with your paintbrush, little lines. I just want you to practice dipping, wiping, and moving your brush on the paper. You don't want to have a lot of paint, and you don't want to have a lot of water. As you can see, I'm not doing anything more, and it's just going to go dark to light. So when the timer goes off, when you're finished, you're going to take your brush, go in the water, and you're just going to rub the bottom of your water cup. Notice as I'm rubbing the bottom of my water cup, no paint should be flying out. We do not want to tap on the water cup That's not what you do. You just rub the bottom. Again, lift, wipe. That's all you need to do. And then you're going to put the brush back wherever you got it from. And we're going to give this a minute to dry as we put away our watercolors, because we don't need that anymore. Because the last step is going to be using your black colored pencil. Obviously mine's a little different. Maybe I can find a better one. Okay, here's a better one. This one's better to the size. So once we give this a few minutes, again, we're going to do the same thing with our colored pencil. Push down, lighten up, go over other materials and mediums you've used to see how they look, overlapping the different mediums. I like a good colored pencil over watercolor. Careful, if it's not wet, it may not work. Our time is up. Again, put your colored pencil away. Hopefully you've got a whole page of just random marks, colors, values, lines, shapes. I hope you have this mess that kind of looks like a piece of art itself, because that's what abstract is. Abstract looks like a mess, but it's just expressing with marks and lines and shapes. So again, we're going to let this dry, especially since we used watercolor. We may have to have these, our sketchbooks, on the actual drying rack if we need to. We don't want to close them up quite yet. So maybe we'll let them out until it's timer to go off. But again, I hope you enjoyed creating these marks and getting just to explore and play with some of our materials today. This worksheet, again, needs to go to your completed side of your folder. If this one was sitting out, it's probably laminated, and Ms. Lawson will get that one picked up. But this one is part of your grade, so don't do anything with it. So I hope you enjoyed making some marks with Ms. Lawson.